this is Anne from the Useless Crafter. So today we're going to be doing an off the mat Moana. It was a special request from one of the followers. So I wanted to help you out and show you what to do. The first thing that I noticed though, and I brought in Jasmine for a comparison so that you could see a really easy SVG file versus a more complicated one. First of all, Jasmine is a lot more easier because her shirt doesn't have like embellishments, right? Like this one does. But even when they do have embellishments, you want to think of low maintenance. You don't want little cutouts like, think of Elsa from Frozen. You know how she has the little pearls on her beautiful blue dress? Well, you don't want those individual pearls. Maybe we could just have a cutout, but we don't need to have individual pearls. So things like that. Like I'm looking at this, and this is looking a little bit of a nightmare for me. Granted, I'm not putting this together. I'm just showing you how to do it in Design Space, and that is still already freaking me out before I even cut it. But this is what I wanted to show you. So here's Jasmine. Look at my right-hand side panel. So Jasmine really is just a couple colors, right? Here's her eyes, the two portions of the eyes. The lip is one thing. Even here, it's two colors. I'm not really, we don't need that, right? I would make it one color. Her pendant for her hair, the gold are big chunky pieces, and then her top, the blue, is really just this top and the matching headband. And then her skin, you could see it's really just a couple pieces, right? So here's the face and the neck together, and then you have her shoulders and chest area, and then her arm and her torso. That's it. So it's in big chunky pieces, and then you have a solid black background. What I don't like to see is, this isn't so bad because they broke up the face from the arm, so we don't need to separate it later. But I don't like seeing these little pieces. I don't know. Oh yeah, see, it's for the little necklace. So first of all, you need to keep track of it, that it cuts well, because that's going to take up enough space that if you lost that piece, you need to recut it. Otherwise, it's just a huge gap. But it's still so small that you don't want it, you've got what? 5 of those pieces, and then another 6 of the little whites, and then who knows what this looks like. We haven't gotten there yet. And you can see I'm just scrolling, right? Whereas Jasmine really is a small portion of the right-hand side panel because she's easy and in a couple pieces. So, all right, I just wanted to show you, so when you're looking on Etsy or some other site to buy the file, the really good designers, check out the comments, because someone will say, oh, it was, super easy to put together. The layers were great. Some designers will actually show you screenshots of what it looks like. So you'll see a solid black background. You'll see that it's in just a few pieces. That's what you want to do, because when we're doing off the mat, you want it simple because it still looks good. Like if you can see behind me, Cinderella and Snow White, I think you can see there. They're just a few pieces, but they still look amazing and they still look true to character. So you really want to find the right SVG file. You also want to find the right SVG file to make sure that you don't have seams. So you want things in chunks, you just don't want them in a bazillion pieces. Here, you see how the arm is broken up. Excuse me. So that's good, because if this arm and the torso and all this was connected, you'd have seams. So you still want things broken up. You still want the earrings to be its own piece, things like that. But you just don't want it to be so much like this little guy. And I don't know what all these other things are. We'll see in a second. So let's get rid of Jasmine and let's look at Moana for a second. Honestly, just from looking at this, I almost feel like it's just a good tutorial to go over what to look for. And maybe if I can fix this and make it more manageable, because off the mat is a lengthy process. It's not hard because you just make it big and then you slice it up so that your Cricut can cut it. And then once you cut it, you piece it back together. So, that overall process is not difficult. where it becomes difficult is you want to make it look good, you want to make it look seamless, you want to make sure the right colors are being used, and then you also want to make it low maintenance for you, because it's a lot of steps within that process, because you have so many pieces that you're dealing with. Like the hair is not going to be one piece, the hair is going to be multiple pieces. So it starts to add up, because then you start to cut it, then you have to take it off the mat, then you need to piece it and glue it. So each piece that you're dealing with adds on much more than just that one piece of time, right? It's exponentially more. So, all right, let's just, before we even resize it, let's just ungroup this to look at what we have. It's kind of hard to tell right away for me what all these, oh my goodness. See, so those little beads are individual cut pieces. Just think about, once you cut it, it's on your sticky mat, right? Your options are to get a big scraper and scrape it all off, and then you're gonna have to manually glue each one of these because it's too small to tape them. So this in itself is a little crazy. So let's look at what else we have. So this is great. This is her face, her neck. I mean, she's, in big chunks. Although what's weird is, oh no, it is. Okay, so those are empty spaces. All right. Let's look at what else we have that can be crazy, because let's ungroup this. Hopefully this is all just one piece, like individual pieces. Okay, right? So that's good. That's good. Those are just slits, cuts, right? And then it'll show the black background from behind. So you have the details, but overall from our standpoint, it's just one piece that we have to handle. So that makes it easy. So all of these are one piece. So that's not bad. So the only thing is we've got this stuff that we don't like, and the pearls. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this for now because I've completely messed it up. Let's bring it in again. And let's try to do this at 30 inches. We're just not gonna deal with the white pieces. I'm not doing that. Okay, so I might do these big pieces right here, but not these little pieces. And these little pieces, what you could do, yeah, there's nothing, I don't have anything for you. I was gonna say maybe do little shells if you had them and put them down, but like even these little, look at these little triangles. There's so many of them. I would weld them, but even that was gonna take a long time because it's so small. So I'm tempted to just leave it blank, or that's gonna be up to you to do. All right, so I'm gonna change this height to 30 inches because that's what we normally do. And at 30 inches, let's zoom out. And my main concern is the two arms, because it comes out and down. It's a big size. So let's see how big these arms are. So this is 30 inches. Let's look at this arm. So we need to ungroup. The nice thing is it is already split up, so I can just look at this to see what the dimensions are. Let's click on this and ungroup. So when you don't see the dimensions and then you see that it's still grouped together, you need to ungroup it. Excuse me. All right, so let's see. So this piece is 13 inches by 13 inches, right? So it's a little bit too big. What I would do is I would select all, and let's see if when we change this to 28 inches, what that looks like. And honestly, because the skin is so hard to deal with, because it's not gonna be glitter cardstock, I think she would look really weird if her skin is like really sparkly. I think that would be a little bit more distracting than anything. And still with it being, oh my gosh, a brown, you're gonna see the seam. So I feel like that would be more distracting, that I would rather lose a little bit of height to make it work. So at 28 inches, it's still a little bit too long. So let's select all again. I think we're gonna need to go to 26 inches in order to make this work. Okay, so at 26 inches, this is 11.9 by 11.92. It's still, we can't change that to make that work because one side, for the Cricut to work, one side has to be 11.5 inches. The other side can be longer because it assumes that you have maybe 12 by 24 cardstock and you can cut longer pieces. But again, one side needs to be 11.5. So let's select all. And I mean, the other thing is we can slice this up, this arm, like a deliberate slice, but I just honestly, I don't think it's gonna look good. So let's change this to 25 inches. I think at 25 we will be good. 11.46. So at 26 and a half, let's select all again, sorry. 25 inches. So I'm gonna save this at 25 inches before I forget. So Moana, 25 inches. And I would look for another, if you're really bent on doing Moana and you want to make her 30 inches, those 5 inches really you want, then I would suggest finding a different pose. One where, you know, the arm is broken up like it is here, or there's like a piece between the face and the neck because there's a necklace. Maybe if there is like a flower band or something more right here, or her hair cuts in front of it instead of behind it. But all right, so at 25 inches, this is what I would do. So here's her face. Her face is going to be 7 inches by 6.5, so it's great. What I would do is duplicate this, go to contour, and you want to hide all contours, and I'm going to tell you why. So when you hide it all, it just fills in one big face. It didn't do it. Give me 1 second. Let's go to contour and hide all. Okay, there we go. So it gives you this. You want to turn that into black. Excuse me. Okay, the reason why you want to turn it into black is because she's still 25 inches, right? So we're going to have to slice her down the middle, slice her a couple different ways. So she may have a seam running down her face. Now, while her face, these little holes right here, her eyes and her lips will cover most of the space, the empty space in the eye sockets and the lip area, right? But you still see, there's still some black, so you may still see a seam down the eye. You definitely would see a seam through the eyebrows if it went down. So in order to not make it distracting, because you know you're going to be drawn to her face, all the Disney characters, princesses, you're drawn to their cute little face, right? So if you have this, what will happen is if your face was sliced, then you would have this black one in between. So let me bring this to the front or send to the back. Did I not send? Okay, hold on. Arrange, send to the back so that we can see it. So what would happen is you would have the background completely sliced up and then you're piecing it together, right? You would have the black piece in between your black background and the face. So if there were seams, there are now no more seams. And then you put your eyes and your mouth in, her face will look flawless because her face is 7 inches by 7 inches. So that's going to cut on a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. And so that is seamless because it fits on a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. But the background would have shown through. So that's what you want to do for the face always. All right, so I'm going to move this over because this is good. Let's look at the rest of the pieces. So we know this is good. That's going to fit on a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, as well as this arm. Now this arm currently is showing 5.6 by 12. And we want to cut on a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. So just rotate it when you go to your Make It screen. So if you rotate it, let's see. So it's now showing as 6.2 by 11.77, right? We didn't shrink it, we didn't slice it. All we did was we rotated it and made it recalculate its dimensions. So by doing that, you can put down a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock and you know it will cut all the way to the end. It will tell you it needs a 12 by 24 mat, but you don't need one. All right, so the arm is good. So everything on her body, her skin is going to be flawless and seamless, right? As well as this little piece. Okay, so her necklace, you definitely, oh, I'm gonna zoom in so you can see why this is so difficult for me, because first of all, she looks, these princesses are so scary when you piece them together until all the pieces are in place. So look at the little shells. Each one of these is its own little piece. Oh, if you really wanted to do this and you're stuck on this image, what I would do is I would take a little circle. I'll actually show you right now. So let's go to shapes. And I would turn this row of shells into one piece. So her necklace is going to be, I would do it into 3 pieces. It will be 3 long pieces. The shell, and then this thing. So the way you would do it, and this is a lengthy process, so I don't love it. You're gonna make this really, really small. Just small enough so that it can connect the 2 pieces, okay? But not big where it's going to change the shape of your necklace. So we don't want that. But you see something like this? And I think you can see that well. Okay, I'm gonna grab this and weld it. So what we went from is these being 2 pieces to now being 1 piece of the necklace. So you can see it still has its like originality where it has the opening and the shape of it, but it's now connected. And I would connect each one of these pieces if I were to do the white, because as individual pieces, oh man, that's so many pieces that you need to keep track of. Okay, so this right now is 7 inches by 11 inches. Hold on, let me undo this for a second. Let's unweld that for a second. I want to see how they did the whites. So are the whites, can you ungroup it? No, okay. So the white, everything white is considered, it's on one line item, so it's 1 piece. So in order to separate the eyes out from this whole image, you need to slice it. So let me do that so I can show you what that looks like. And let's zoom out for a second. Because technically you can cut it right now, right? Because it's 7 inches by 11 inches. So it would cut on a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, but you have a lot of wasted space, right? You have a lot here and here. And I would, if I were to do this piece, I would do this in white glitter cardstock. So I like to save my scraps. I like to make it all condensed. So I would slice out these pieces. And the way I would do that is like this. I would take in a square, and you want to make sure when you're slicing something away from the whole image, that piece needs to be completely covered in your new shape. So this eye is completely in the square and only that piece, okay? Then what you do is you grab the white and the square and you're going to slice. And so now what we did was we sliced out this right eye to be its own piece. So see, now it's by itself. So when you go to cut this, you can put these 2 really close together and save some cardstock. So you're going to need to do that for, my recommendation is to do that for all of the whites. So you're just going to keep using the same piece of same square, like we're going to do it right here. And then I'm going to grab this and slice. When you go to grab 2 things and you look down and your slice button is grayed out like it is now, that means you did not pick up 2 items. You either picked up just 1, which is probably unlikely. More likely is that you picked up 3 items or more, because there are things hidden here and your mouse may have picked it up. So you just want to make sure that's where the error is. Now, if you remember what I was saying, you only want that 1 item that you're removing from the whole image to be in your square. What I didn't notice was there were 2 little pearl beads in my square with my eye. So you can see when I sliced it out, it's saying, okay, I'm going to take those two things and slice it from the image. So this still doesn't help us, right? So I just wanted to show you that. All right, so let's delete that. You don't need any of the slice results. So anything that was in the gray, you can delete. So you're going to continue to slice things apart here, and then I would weld those pieces so that your necklace is combined. I would do that for each one of these rows. I know, that does not sound appealing to me at all. Let's look at these pieces over here. Okay, so what's cool about this is you can ungroup this and it will just all break apart. What I don't like about this is like this little piece up here, it's really thin. The chances of it making the cut, I would just get rid of it. No one's gonna realize that there needed to be this thin piece. So I would ungroup this and let's get rid of this piece. It didn't let me pull it this one, there. This piece I think is just completely unnecessary, so I'm gonna delete it. This little piece, no one will notice it. I mean, first of all, it needs to cut, my goodness. It's 0.22 by 0.1. It is so minuscule. And that's at 25 inches. I can't even imagine what this piece is, when it's smaller. So that's what I was saying, like with certain designers, they get that, and then others, like, look at, there's another small little piece here. So personally, I would just get rid of it. Nobody will know that it shouldn't have been there. The other thing that I would do is, let's see how big this whole little piece right here is. Okay, so this is 8 inches by 6 inches. I am tempted, actually, is it all one piece? Okay, because you see how this little sash right here, it's connected right here to this piece. So this right here is one piece. These two are is a piece together. And then this, so actually this whole thing is 3 pieces. We could make it one. We could easily do a little circle right here, so it's one piece. The nice thing about it being one piece is that you don't have to try to line this up to make it work. The one piece just goes down, and then everything else falls into place. So what I would do is I would take a circle, and I would make it really small because you want to keep the little details of it, like of seeing the black through there. So that's not a problem. We can keep that, but we're going to weld it right here. If we weld it in this little section, we connect that this button with these 2 pieces. And you can make that smaller if you wanted to, but I just want to make sure that you can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm going to grab this and weld it. So I didn't change it so much, but right now all those pieces are touching, so this is actually one big piece. It makes it a lot easier, I promise you. All right, so this is done. This piece is a little bit small for my taste. I'm going to delete it. All right, these 2 pieces. Now these 2 pieces, the same thing here. It looks like it's one piece, but it's hanging on very thinly right here. I would probably, I mean, there's not much to do there. I was gonna say I would weld another circle to make it stronger, but then it would, you have this piece that has to go in the middle. So if it tears, it tears into 2 pieces. So that's good. All right, so that's out of the way. Let's see what's left. We have this sash. This sash, is it one piece? It is one piece, so that's good. And then here is this. So everything else should be, one piece. These little pieces of skin right here, I would weld so that these 3 pieces become one. These 2 become one, and then you've got those small pieces. All right, so let me zoom out. What we have left on this is the black background. Everything else should cut perfectly. So let me move everything out of the way. All right, so I'm moving this over, and look, that little piece. I know, I looked at this design and I just thought to myself, I don't know if it's worth the effort to cut because we're missing a lot of details. like the white, you kind of need it in there, but it's so much work. So that's why I was recommending another image, but I'm going to show you how to slice this up. So she is 23 inches by 25 inches. So yeah, all right. So let's bring in our square. And we're actually going to need, wait, she's 22.9, yeah. So normally I like to do my squares 11 inches by 11 inches because I feel like it's less drama. I don't like dealing with half inches, but I also sometimes run into issues with it cutting, and it just shows that it won't cut at 11 and a half inches. So, but I'm going to slice this in half. We'll just do 2 right now, and then we'll see how it works out, okay? So let's still make this 11 inches. So here's our first square. You're going to put it down just anywhere close over the image, and then we're going to go to the position feature, and we're going to round to the nearest whole number. So 7.2 becomes 7, 1.5 becomes 2. What we're telling Design Space, your X coordinate is the one running across. Go over 7 units, go down 2 units, and here's the beginning of your square. We're going to duplicate it. And we're going to put it really, really close to the first one. If you do that, then you don't need to do any math. You just round. Well, rounding is math, but 18.1 becomes 18. It's already at 2, so we're good. We have 2 squares that are completely flush with each other. You want them to be flush because you want them to butt up against each other, but you don't want them to overlap, and you don't want any gaps, right? Because that's where you're going to see the seams, and it's not going to be good. So you have 2 squares that are flush. Hit the shift key and grab the second square. So now we have both these squares highlighted and selected. We're going to duplicate it, and we're going to put it down here, and we're going to just make this set flush with this one. So we're going to round to the nearest whole number. So 7's already good. 13.2 becomes 13. Then we're going to grab another set, and we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so this becomes 7 and 24. Now what you want to do is you want to grab her and arrange send to the front. And we want to make sure how we're slicing this up. So let's zoom in, and you want big cuts, right? So like from this square, she's going to be a lot of hair and a lot of face, right? So that's one big cut. This is what you don't want over here. Let me scoot over so you can see. I mean, obviously this is off the grid. We'll fix that. But this is what I was going to tell you. See how this little curl, it's its own piece because it's being sliced off right here. I mean, sometimes you can't help it because of just the sizing and the way the image is. But when you can help it, you want to make sure that this maybe goes up here so that it cuts as part of one big piece up here. All right, so let's move this over a little bit. So that hair is hanging off by itself. This down here, so let's see. We want maybe something like this, because this piece is going to be one big chunk. This piece is going to be a big chunk. This one we need to deal with. This one I would almost be tempted to, okay, so this is not good. So let's move this up a little bit. And let's see how we're impacted. So I think this is good. We need to scoot this over a little bit. I feel like there's no good way of doing that. Yeah, I would just add another square, have that piece hanging off by itself. So we don't need to do another square actually because we can slice it off. So let's slice this right now the way it is. So one square at a time. We're going to grab this square and the image and slice. Now, normally when the princesses have black hair or dark hair, like Jasmine, Snow White, and Moana, and Mulan, I would do the hair in black glitter cardstock because the black is so much of it that I don't want the seams to be so obvious. So, all right, so we've sliced those two. And what you can do is you can move it over so you can see what you've sliced. And you want to get rid of your slice results. We don't need this up here. So you can grab all of this and delete. Okay, let's slice this. And this. And what's nice about doing your grid is you're going to see this right here. When you go to piece this together, these four corners meet up. It makes it so much easier to piece everything together. So those are our pieces. This little piece you're going to have to deal with. Let's slice the bottom. Okay, so these are our bottom pieces. I'm going to move it over. And you're going to have another four corners right here. So it just really helps you piece back together this puzzle, right? And then all of this we can delete. And then you've got this little curl. So let me zoom out for a second so you can see what we have. So when you go piece this back together, this little guy has to be taped to here. Although that doesn't look that crazy to me, but anyway, you have this piece, we can easily deal with that. All right, so this is kind of done. Let's go to the Make It page so I can show you what that looks like. There's still some efficiencies that we can gain because Design Space is not the best at putting everything together. So because we didn't do anything with this, it's still grouped together, right? But you can see, you can move these things. You can turn this around. You can make it definitely more efficient in where you're cutting. You just want to make sure when you're doing this though that nothing overlaps because then you're going to need to recut things and that we don't want. Okay, so there's that piece and then this. Okay, so here's your white, here's your black. So let's see, our black pieces are pretty big. This one's kind of small, so maybe it can go somewhere. Okay, so I definitely think this can go up to the previous page. So you can click on the three dots and move object. And we can move it to, so we can move it here. And again, when you move it, you actually need to move it on the screen so that things don't overlap with each other. But I'm trying to make this a little bit more efficient. My mouse was getting crazy. I want to see if I can add anything more. Why is it not letting me go there? It's like I'm willing it to go, moving it with my head. All right, so here's that piece. This little tendril, he can go somewhere in here, right? Let's see if we can add another piece to this. I don't think we can. That one's pretty big. I don't think it fits anywhere else. All right, so we went from it being 5 sheets of black to 4 sheets of black. Oh no, wait, there's more. Hold on. All right, so we can definitely add, okay, let's move this piece. And we'll move it to this last one. Where it is, this one. So you can see, you can start messing with things. It's a little bit like playing Tetris, but let's see if we can, there. So these 3 now fit, right? They may not have looked like they would fit, but they do. All right, here is this little piece we can just get rid of. All right, this is her sash, lower lip. This we can move around a little bit to make more efficient, right? It doesn't need to take the whole page. And the reason why I say this is because if you do something like this, then you can save your scrap and it'll be a 6-inch by 12-inch piece, a big chunk that's easier to reuse next time if you're using glitter cardstock. Oh, But these are all the same. They can fit on the same page. So instead of moving like I did one by one, what you could do instead is you can say, you know what? I have a 12 by 24 piece of cardstock, even if you don't. Because what you're going to do then is you're going to move everything above. So it's just a little bit easier so that you don't have to move each one individually. And you can just slide them on up. But you see, as long as you're only you're above the 12-inch line, then you don't need a 12 by 24 mat. You don't need 12 by 24 cardstock. You can just use your 12 by 12 mat with your 12 by 12 cardstock, and it will cut without any issue on this one. Okay, so we've got that piece. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have this random piece. Design Space is definitely acting up because look at this arm. It normally would not do this. I mean, you can move it right now. This needs to be on its own page. So let's click on this, move object, and we can move it to the previous page because that only had like a little titty bit. And this arm was the one that we said was going to be a little bit too large, right? But it will fit. You just need to turn it and there's plenty of room for other things on this page, right? You can put things here. You can actually even move it here, and we might not need this. So let's move her face. We'll move it to this one. And then there's one more little piece. I think this is her neck. Let's click on this, move object. And we can move it either here or here, it doesn't matter. Either way, you're gonna be using two pieces. So just make sure that you remember to move this. Otherwise it's gonna slice through the arm, and then you're gonna have to recut both items. And then like this little guy up here and this little guy. Okay. Okay, part of her dress, her little gemstone, and her upper lip. This is Moana. All right. I can't wait to see it. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to, you know what? We can do it right now. Give me a second. All right, let's go here. Let's search for Moana SVG. And I'm going to show you what I would look for if I was doing this file. And I know sometimes you want a particular image, so I totally get that. But I also like to avoid things like this. This is too many that I need to go through to find the one image that I want. So I'd rather pay for just the image, you know, for a few images. Like this one, you can tell, so it's layered by color, and you can see, I'm going to show you. This is, I mean, this might be too simple, right? Because look at the way her skirt is. I mean, it's literally just a few colors, and you can see you can see the breakout. So this one would be a good one to do. And what's nice about a full body image is that each piece, let's say the legs and the arms, they're at 11 inches. So that's 11 inches, 11 plus another 11, if not more, right? Definitely more. This piece will be 36 inches without any seams because there's so many sections to this SVG file. So that's something that you want to look for too. So let's go back. And I like that it shows us the images so you know that it's layered, so it's easy to deal with. I have done this one, and this one's so cute. Same thing with this one though. You can kind of see she's like, it's her legs, and she's got two separate legs. So it's nice that it's not one big brown piece. And then it's her face, so you know you have a lot of options there. So that looks like that's a popular image. See, this one doesn't have the pearls, but let's click on it and see what we have. But it's still got the long arm, so we know that that's still going to be an issue. But see, this one is a little bit nicer because all the details are going to be cutouts from the red piece of her thing. So there's no white. Even her necklace, it just looks like there's a piece of necklace there. So it just depends. And then afterwards, you can embellish it. You can use pearls, you can use shells if you had it, and you can add it on. So that would be a little bit more simple. Let me see if I can find one more. I'm still not happy with any of these images actually. Baby Moana is easy. I've done this one and it's super cute. but let's see. Oh, it's taking a bit. And I have not done Moana off the mat. Like actually, I've done the tutorial twice now, but I've yet to actually piece it together. So, all right, it's slowing down, so I'm just gonna end it here. But I hope that was helpful. That was definitely more of like a background of what to look for, what to think of when you're searching for a file. It did come up, but all right. I'm going to leave you. Let me know your thoughts. If you have a special request, let me know here as well. If you want to send me a file for me to show you on yours what to do, you can do that as well. It's Ann, A-N, @theuselesscrafter.com. All right. See you guys next time.